Hello and welcome to another FOG video. I don't really want to beat around the bush with this one, I just want to jump straight into the video. But please, remember to make sure to like or dislike and share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. On November 16th, Outriders had a new totally free update, which is titled New Horizon. This update includes a bunch of changes and new add-ons, which we're going to go over and discuss, but the question basically is, can this update save Outriders? Does New Horizon add enough to get Outriders back on track and get players interested again? I mean, let's be honest here, Outriders is pretty much dead, or at least it was before the update went live. It had an average of around 636 active players on Steam in October, which is, well, it's not good, is it?
Nope.
Now, for those of you that are not familiar with Outriders, this is a game that at one point was supposedly said to be a Destiny killer. Yeah, well, that didn't quite work out to be the case. Developed by People Can Fly, the same studio that brought us the original Gears of War, Outriders is a third-person loot shooter that's mainly a story-driven experience, but it can be played fully as an online co-op. It's completely cross-play and currently it's completely PvE only. But I do think that there could be an argument made for some sort of PvP mode. I think it could be beneficial and could attract a bigger player base. But we're getting off track here. Let's just go over all the changes that have now been added to Outriders, and we'll discuss them as we go. The biggest changes are to do with expeditions, and in a way, how the endgame is played. The New Horizon update added 4 brand new expeditions, which, if I'm completely honest, expeditions are all very similar to one another, really. I honestly don't see any significant differences between expeditions as you make your way through them. They're all played the same sort of way. Keep running forward and kill everything in sight until you get to the end section where you basically have to kill everything in sight, and then you can finally collect the loot. I mean, that's basically it, isn't it? The scenery sort of changes, but not really in any special kind of way. Certainly not to the point where the way you play the game changes in any shape or form. So adding new expeditions is, I guess it's cool, but ultimately it doesn't really make the game any more appealing than it already was.
However,
there is a big change to expeditions, which all on its own has made me want to download and start playing the game again. And that's where you no longer have any timers. You see, before, the quicker you completed the expedition, the higher the chance for better loot to drop at the end, which basically took away any sort of fun, because you were mostly just trying to completely speedrun the game. But now, with this change, you can just, take your time and actually get to enjoy the mechanics and the gameplay. And at the end of the expedition, the chance of top quality loot is always the same. In my opinion, this is honestly an excellent change and was absolutely needed. And I definitely think this will bring back a good number of players. I don't think it's enough to make Outriders bounce back, but I think it's a pretty good start. At the end of the day, the big problem is the end game. There's only one single way to play it, which is expeditions. And where the mechanics are always the same when you're playing it, it makes the game just extremely repetitive. I think for Outriders to actually become anything more than what it already is, it needs more variety. I think it is really as simple as that, which is why a PvP mode could possibly give Outriders more depth and appeal, especially if it is done correctly. And also something equivalent to like a Destiny raid could also add huge value here. Another great change, or addition in this case, is Transmogrification, or Transmog, which is easier and a much more recognizable name. Outriders now basically and pretty much has the best transmog system out of any loot shooter out there, actually putting the recently added Destiny 2 transmog system to absolute shame. It uses an extremely simple and easy to use straightforward process, and there's no cost or limit to how many times you use it. Every single piece of gear that you find while you play goes straight into your transmog database for you to use. That's both armor and weapons, which is nuts. It's simply superb, and I can only hope that other games take it as an example, and instead of trying to monetize every little tiny cosmetic thing, they give us systems like this. Other changes are much less significant. There's been a rework to Tiago's shop, which I guess is just fine. There's also been some buffs done to some of the mods and gear, as well as some quality of life improvements and bug fixes and stability improvements, and it all helps, of course. But at the end of the day, does any of this make any difference to the popularity of Outriders? And the brutal truth is, probably not. Sure, players will very likely jump in to check out all the changes, but they'll just as quickly jump back out, as there is nothing new in terms of modes and depth, which is what the game desperately needs in order to find players and build a player base. The expansion World Slayer will be making its way into Outriders in 2022, and it'll pretty much be critical for the survival of Outriders. I'm curious to see what it adds, and I really hope it brings a variety of new activities, because otherwise it'll probably be the end of the support for Outriders. I guess that's it from me. Have you been playing Outriders? What are your thoughts? Are you enjoying the update? Is it enough to keep you playing, or are you gonna jump ship again? Comment below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye!